So, everybody, just a quick little disclaimer. This episode will have a little bit more expletives than normal. So, if you've got little ones, cover their ears or don't let them listen. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fallout Roundtable. This is a place where diverse individuals discuss various topics from the Fallout universe. Join us, the conversation has already started.
Welcome to another episode of the Fallout Roundtable. Today is a very special episode, and just before we get started, I want to say thank you to everyone who has listened to the shows thus far. We have made it to episode number 50!
Woo!
Yeah!
It's work.
Episode 50! As you can see, I'm very excited! Woo!
Woo! That's awesome.
Now, also, before we get on with our topics and our very, very special guest today, why don't you rate, review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel? If you watch us, you get to see all my facial expressions, all my hand movement. We also have a Twitter account at Fallout RTB. Just give us a little tweet over there. And we also have an email address, thefalloutroundtable@gmail.com. No, falloutrtb@gmail.com.
You had it right.
Dang it.
You had it right the first
Nice.
time. You're good.
Did I have it right the first time?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, cool. So let me introduce our very, very special guest of the evening. It's the owner of the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Nevada, Steven Staat's Old Man Liver.
Thank you for having me on. I'm honored.
Cool. Awesome. And then Jaxxis is here also. Say hi.
Oh, hi.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah.
He's just a host. Right?
Yeah, it's just our topic host for the evening. Jaxxis, take it away for us.
All right. So, how you doing, everybody? I'm glad you joined us today.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So today's subject is going to be if you were to wake up one day and you were in the Fallout universe in the New Vegas video game, what role or what part would you play in that? Would you be a raider? Would you be an NCR soldier? Would you be a casino owner or maybe just work at the casino at the bar? Would you be a hooker? Would you be slinging some dope, something like who knows? But maybe you'd be working at the caravan. Those are all the different kind of little elements. Mind you, we're short staffed today because everybody's got vacations and everything going on. That's what happens during the summer. So
Good.
There's just the three of us today on the 50th.
It's only three that
episode.
matters, as far as I'm concerned.
Big 5-0.
I knew he was going to. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start things off with Maverick and ask him.
Hello, it's me.
What exactly? Yes, we're going to start with you. We're going to start out with you and you're going to tell us what it is that you would do if you were in the New Vegas Fallout universe. What would your role be?
I feel like my role would be I would be a cowboy or like the courier. I would want because I would want to be more the Wild West aspect of New Vegas than actually be in New Vegas, to be honest. Just
So
roaming.
it'd be more like you would be in Goodsprings because that's kind of the Wild West.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would really want to do or have a gang of us. Like how they went up old towns and just started. Like we're all the old Suggins gang or whatever. I don't know. And we start robbing things.
So you might be a
bad guy.
raider or something.
I wouldn't want to be a raider because I don't want to wear all that chest. I don't want.
You want to be an outlaw cowboy. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So you want to be like the Clantons or.
Yeah.
Maybe the James
Or
gang
what
or something.
Old Man Liver is in real life, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
He's the outlaw and the sheriff all in one.
Good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, he can just arrest himself and just get out in like a couple hours. He'll be fine.
It's pretty much his own damn town anyway. All right. So Mav, all right, so you got yourself in this environment, you're an outlaw, right? So
Outlaw.
all right, and you're you're putting yourself up in Goodsprings?
I feel like my base of operations would be in Goodsprings, yes.
Okay, I just picked
Good.
Goodsprings because it does look like an old West town. Why?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
it's an old West town.
It's in old, yeah. Yeah,
All right,
and it's just far out of New Vegas where I wouldn't, if I wanted to go to New Vegas I could, but if I didn't have to, I didn't have to. I could go around it. I could do whatever I would want.
okay, so I'm gonna poke some holes in here because that's what I
Poke
do.
away.
All right, so if you're gonna be an outlaw, you're in Goodsprings. Now, if I remember right, you got NCR right there in Goodsprings area. If I was to bring up my map, because I had a map set up. See, New
See,
Vegas.
he came prepared while we didn't.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I do. I prepare for things.
It's not really.
I try.
a big
I
presence
try
in Goodsprings.
to. I try to, but it ends up horribly wrong for some reason.
Oh, well.
There's not much police in Goodsprings in the video game or in real life, for the record.
Well, to me, I just think of if you're going to think of a police group, I would think that the NCR would be the only
NCR.
ones to kind of fill that role.
The Caesar's Legion
Correct.
wouldn't give a shit.
Well, the Caesar's Legion's not like they would be the opposite of the police.
Yeah, they'd come in and fuck everything up.
They'd be there to kill everyone, make slaves of you. You know, that would be
Right.
about
That'd be the part I'd enjoy, actually, but that's a sexual thing.
Oh,
Oh boy, here we go.
Don't worry, I'll put
invited
a
Old Man
disclaimer
Liver
at the
on show.
beginning.
It's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're okay with it because it's the big 5-0.
Well, I warned you exactly what you're getting into, so we're good.
Oh, I knew. I knew this.
I figured you wouldn't have invited me on the show if you.
Yeah, I knew what was coming. I was like, no,
I knew what was coming.
I'll put a disclaimer on this one.
I'll put the big OE next to this one when I.
Yeah, so you've got the Caesar's Legion on the south end of the map, like all around that area, and in Goodsprings, all through the bottom areas there. That's where the Caesar's Legion's making their way up, and NCR has got spotty little, bases throughout that entire area. So if you are in that area and you were an outlaw in the Goodsprings territory, and you're messing with now, obviously you don't shit where you eat. So
Obviously.
You're not going to mess around in Goodsprings and ruin things for yourself, right? You're not going to be robbing the people in the town.
Of course not.
No, so you're going to go out of town. And,
yeah.
You basically make your way closer to Vegas and try to do some issues there. Now, mind you, you're going to be dealing with the NCR, and if you do anything in town, Mr. House going to have he's going to slap you around a little bit, So you got to be careful of that kind of thing. Now,
I don't want to end up in a pot with cannibals.
That could happen too if you went south.
Yeah.
So if you were in that universe, how would you go? Now, would you be just running around randomly sacking people's stuff and settlements and things like that, robbing caravans? What kind of outlaw would you be? I mean, would you be like a stagecoach kind of chasing guy or what?
I mean, I don't know, because in Fallout we don't know about horses. No,
you got the Brahmins, but I'm talking about like, are you going to take out the caravans? You may not have a horse, but I mean,
or maybe a giddy up buttercup, but I don't think those came in then. Just us outlaws running down mechanical horses.
I think I saw that on a cartoon once when I was a kid. Anyway.
Yeah. I feel like I'd be more of a caravan taker outer guy.
So kind of what you do now is you'd be kind of a outlaw slash you'd be taking out caravans. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be taking them out and probably killing Peter to pay Paul.
Okay, so how are you gonna deal with the NCR?
I don't know. I'd probably run away. Retreat.
Retreat. So
a tactical retreat is always necessary.
Okay, so basically it's the cowardly lion running away from the big old monster, because that's what the NZR is. And if they ever caught up with you, it'd be kind of the end of your career. So
Yeah.
not a lot of
Yeah.
longevity in your decision there, buddy.
Oh, I know that, but it's gonna be fun all the time.
Now, Maverick, do you think if this was real life and it wasn't a video game, you'd make the same choices? That you'd be
No.
one of the.
Well, that's
No,
what
I'd
I was
probably be a
getting at.
townsperson. I'd probably be a townsperson, to be honest, because or a courier, or just try to make a living, really, to
Well,
survive.
see, and that's where I was kind of getting at, because there's always that fantasy element of, what would you do in a video game? But if you were really to be put into that universe, would you really? That's kind of why I was started poking holes in your thoughts, because I wanted to know, well, what would you really do? Because I mean, I know what I would do, but that's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because I realize some people in the game they play it because they can be someone who they're not, and they can go kill good people and steal their shit and do all that stuff. But to me, I like to look at it more like if it was me, if I'm in that real scenario, what would I really do and what decisions would I make, and that's how I play it. But
Yeah, and that's
I mean-
exactly my point. So for instance, all right, Gingerino. We all know Gingerino. We know his personality. So if Gingerino is in the New Vegas universe, I'm going to speculate here, but I'm probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah. You probably will, because I think I know where you're going with this.
Well, I just see him hanging out in like the casinos and things like that. And he's going to be like somebody that buys and sells stuff. I see him as that guy that runs a shop. He'd be like, "Come on in, everybody. Yeah, I got this for you. I got that for you. And yeah. All right, cool." And you try to wheel and deal, make a little couple bucks here and there. I see Romer as somebody who would probably be in the
I could see him in caravans.
caravans. Well, yeah, he does do the travel thing.
yeah,
Yeah, if he was in the caravan, I think he'd be actually somebody probably more logistically. He would probably be running a caravan, I would think.
Yeah.
And he would be trying to, create a network in that area. Sassy? I wonder what Sassy Lady would do. She seems to be somebody that likes to build things. So, now mind you, she does things in the pharmaceutical line in the real world. So, I mean, that was an interest to hers at some point. She must have, fallen into that. So maybe she might get into the drug trade.
that would be a cool twist.
Right? But then again, she's got an ethical part of her, so I don't know if she would go that
Yes.
far. So,
Fun
but maybe
to go
she
to
would be a doctor. She might even be the doctor in town, the town
Yeah.
doctor taking care of everybody.
You throw an extra bill for the right chems. I get it. Yeah.
Right. Hey,
Yeah,
go
always.
under the table, make a buck here and there, or just now, Romer, or excuse me, Gingerino, also very likely could be just a scavenger walking around, picking up stuff. I don't
Like,
see
"Hey,
him
you
as
want this?"
I don't think Gingerino's much of a green thumb. I mean, I could be
No.
wrong. I don't know that much about Ginger. He does like to take. I know he does like to do the whole camping thing. So he might be kind of a outdoorsy, woodsy type. But I'm gonna speculate that he'll probably be in the scavenger world, have his own little general store, and selling the goods and stuff that he finds. I just
see
think
that.
I kind of see that as a thing he would do. Now I'm going to let everybody know what I would do, and then I'm going to ask Old Man Liver here what he would do if he was in that
All
scene.
right.
And we're going to do that right after we take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Oh,
All right.
Cheers.
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 Ever wanted to be a content creator but had no clue where to begin? Come join me as I sit down with content creators that have already faced the challenges you're up against, as they discuss the tips and tricks that help them be successful. Here on The Content Creator's Guide, available wherever podcasts can be found. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thank you for your patronage and watching my ridiculousness, like my commercial for my show that I plug in there myself all the time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody what I would do if I was in that Fallout universe. And I thought about this for a long time. What would I do in New Vegas? And one of the biggest issues that I found in New Vegas is clean water. And I think that I would find a way to, one, yes, I'm a little bit on the combat oriented side of things. So I would probably go to Freeside where they have the water pump, and I would take the water pump away. Yeah, because I would now mind you, this would take me some time, because what I would first do is I would make my way into Vegas. I would find out who is nefarious enough and combat skilled enough to where they could be wheeled and dealed and hired. I would do a few jobs around town to collect some money so that I can actually have a little chunk of change, and I would build me up a crew. Once I got me that crew, I would take that crew out and I would teach them the combat skills that I know, because I have some experience in that world. I don't want to get
Had
into
a feeling you did.
it.
Your
So
weapon score is very
somewhere,
high, I'm sure.
somewhere.
I was raised in a world where people carry guns. Let's just say that. So I would take them out.
Nevada's open carry for real, so it works.
So I would get my guys together and I would help train them in some tactics that work with me. And I would take over the water pump. Once I got the water pump taken over, one, you got to be able to hold the water pump. So once you've attacked and you've managed to get that, that's when you start doing negotiations. All right, I've taken the water pump. Now I go and I have conversation with the NCR. I tell them, look, I want to be able to run and maintain this water pump. I will distribute it to the NCR bases for free. And in exchange, I would like protection to be able to transport water throughout the wasteland and sell it at a reasonable price so that we can get the wastelands back under control in the way that, the world was before the bombs hit. And I would think that, being NCR, getting free clean water to all of their bases, which that would mean I would have to come up with a distribution system. So the second thing that I was going to do is, once I was able to establish that, we would start, one, by negotiation with the caravans, working with the caravans and them getting a slight discount on their water so that they can have water to be able to travel, transport their people around and be able to make sure that they've always got water, because water is a big deal out in that area. So once you've got that set up, you've created a network of being able to transport the water, and then you've got the NCR to help you protect the water. All right, I'm the holder. That's what the big thing is, but I'm also I'm the facilitator. I'm creating a situation for everybody. So now we've got clean water that's traveling to the NCR, and you've got the caravans under control. Now you're going to be able to get that to the rest of the people. That's in the short term. That's going to get a small little distribution group. That's like, so people in Goodsprings can actually get some nice clean water. From that point, I was going to create aqueducts, just like in the old Roman days. And I was going to have that to where, instead of having this big old huge aqueduct where they've got, where the rainwater and all that does it through it, we would create a piping system. Generally, I would have it dug under the ground so that it keeps it cool while it's traveling from point A to point B. It would start from the pumping station. It would make its way towards where Lake Mead is. I wasn't going to use Lake Mead's water in the aqueduct because it suffers from radiation. It's got, 2-3 rads flowing through it. We're trying to get clean water. That was my point about that. So that's why I didn't just create an aqueduct from the lake, in case anybody was trying to figure out that one loophole.
Jesus, are you an engineer? You have an engineer degree? For fuck's sake.
I don't have a degree, no, but I've always been somebody that thinks like that.
It's impressive.
Yeah. And then once you've got the water from all the different
it.
bases, now you create a pipeline from Lake Mead down to Goodsprings. That's all the way across that part of Nevada. That's a large distance to make with a pipeline of water. Within that pipeline of water, you create distribution points. From those distribution points, obviously, you're going to need the NCR to protect it. So you create your little satellite stations there where people can collect their water from those points. And then from there, you can create the network system to where everybody can get water again. Now, once you've done that, I would create new meters. Once you've been able to create new meters, then you can start distributing that water to people's homes, and they can start drinking water like they used to and just turn on the faucet. But that's going to take probably another 20 to 15 years of infrastructure and creation. Once those meters are put in, then you can actually start charging people by the volume that they do utilizing the meter system.
Wow. That's a very unselfish answer that you came up with. That's impressive.
I wanted to make,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
If
like,
you think about
what
it,
would
that's
I
very
do?
unselfish.
What would I
Yeah.
do? If I was
I mean,
put
you
in that
got
position,
you got. I mean, you got to spill a little blood at first, but it's more like
all
Robin
I'm doing
Hood,
is
really.
taking it from people that should not have control of it.
No, I agree. It's like
You're
Robin
taking
Hood.
power from those who use power for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
Therefore, I have no sympathy whatsoever.
I wouldn't either.
No,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nope.
that's just like in
Yeah.
the old. It would take the same concept of dropping somebody in medieval times. Think of all those useless, worthless kings.
Well, that's true. We finally went from kings and queens to, not all, there's still countries out there doing the king and queen shit, which blows my mind.
Mhm.
But modern day. But then we go from that to electing people to make decisions for us. And then my thing, not to get political here, but my thing is eventually we got to get it to a point where we can make decisions for ourselves.
Free state.
Right, where we're actually
I get
free.
that.
And that's one reason, that I love Nevada. It's the freest state in the country,
Mhm.
and we decide ourselves if we can go gamble or not. Not the government telling us if that's moral or not, or if we're going to have a problem with it.
It's elimination of a singular head, because you can't.
Thank you.
Anytime you've got a
Yes.
singular head of control, then it creates that pyramid element to things.
Yes.
You want to
And
create that
presidents have
cluster
too much
element or
power.
the round
Yes.
table.
Yep.
That King Arthur had
Okay.
it right. He might have been he was the head of the table, but that head of the table is only a delegator. It should be the people on that table
Yes.
should have the same
It's the
amount of
round
power
table.
to make true decisions.
That's a great
Yeah.
point. And what was it? Wasn't it George Washington they wanted to give the kingship to, and he declined?
He
Said no,
absolutely
we're a
wanted nothing to
democracy.
do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was never supposed to be where presidents had this much power.
Now,
where
mind
they
you,
could
we
just-
weren't meant to be a democracy.
No, we
No,
weren't.
we're meant to be a
No, if you
republic.
think
Think about
Yeah.
the Pledge of Allegiance and to the republic for which it
Good point.
stands. Keep that in mind when
That's
you guys
interesting.
start checking your
That-
history.
Yeah. What the?
it is
yeah,
weird
Jesus.
if you think about it. Yeah, it's not weird,
Yeah, a lot
but
A lot of the
if you just
shit's
think
like
about it.
real. No, it's interesting that we can, because these are real political issues like we're really
Absolutely.
facing.
Well, and so
real life.
anything social political elements can be added. I mean, it's all part of our games. It's what makes it entertaining to us, because those are things that are actually, subconsciously important to us all.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you are playing a video game, if you look at every video game that's out there or any board game that's out there, they're all based on the social economical elements that you deal with in everyday life. As simple as stupid things like Frogger with a frog jumping and running across the street. There's some sort of element, if you were to dig deep enough, where you could find that it actually applies. Now, then you
Yeah.
got things like Risk. Risk is a very social political game. Monopoly, that's an economical game. Every single one of these things ties together and pulls you back towards reality. And that's if you
that's
take the time to look at those things, and now that you've taken that aspect of it and you look at it from this point of view, you really being put into these games, what would you do? What I would do is I would help mankind.
And you were even talking about Lake Mead, not being able to use the water there because of the radiation, but in real life, I joke around about with the water in Lake Mead having decayed bodies with all these people they're finding in barrels. And do I really want to drink that water?
So
out of
quite
there?
literally, there is an airplane in the bottom of the lake.
There is, yeah.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
an airplane at the bottom of the lake. There's a few airplanes down there. There's parts of Lake Mead that have over many, many generations have had airplanes in them. There's cars in there. There's a lot of things have been put
Thought there was
into
a town at
Lake
one
Mead,
point.
Lake Havasu, Lake Powell, and then you're not even dealing with the other areas of the Colorado River, which starts in Colorado.
Oh
You know,
my
I mean,
gosh.
you know, there's a
Well, that's-
lot of bodies out there, guys.
Yeah, no shit. And they haven't discovered them all yet.
No,
I'll tell you, and your point about tapping the Goodsprings water that's also a real deal because that's where Goodsprings got its name, was originally the springs
natural
coming
springs.
right up to the ground. And so we all have wells out there and you don't have to dig that far down. And and it's fresh, clean. I mean, we're like the Pioneer Saloon, we're basically a public water source like any other small town would be. And we're regulated as such. And we have clean, tasty water coming right up from the ground, like just 20 feet down. It's not that, it's crazy. So and
Some of the best filters in the world are rocks.
right?
Yeah.
That's a real deal.
If you think about it, yeah.
Best filters in the world are rocks. But
true.
no, so my thought was to be a benefit to my fellow man. And how would I
Don't
be
be a
best
menace,
of
be a benefactor.
how would I be
Yeah.
a good benefactor to the people of Nevada at that period of time? What better way than to give them clean drinking water?
Mm-hmm.
That's very responsible of you.
Yeah, very unlike myself.
Yeah,
So,
I was
all right,
expecting more like weapons.
well, so that being said, it's time to find out what Old Man Liver, what would you do if you were
Yeah,
in the
you
Fallout
do?
New Vegas universe?
You know what? It's funny, if you had asked me when I was a kid, I would have definitely said I wanted to be some NCR Army officer, probably specifically a ranger that's, handpicked to go out and do more than just man a piece of shit station out in the middle of nowhere, but can scout and protect people and all that kind of stuff. Since I've gotten older and I'm a little more questioning of giant bureaucracies and government, just to get in the political thing again for a second there, that I question a lot more about authority and just kind of like they say, like the reason people can go to war when you're 18 is because they don't question anything. They just go do what they're told and follow orders.
They're
I
just there to
can't
blow it up, man.
now I can't just follow orders if someone tells me to go to war and do something. Yes, sir. I've learned that I have better, kind of like when you're young, and even my old lady and I were talking about this. Like we always looked at people that were older as having probably legitimate opinions and being smarter than us, and we'd stay a little quiet and listen to people, and then we'd go back and we're like, wait, we were fucking right that whole time. And adults don't know shit, and governments don't do shit, and they've got these big bureaucracies like the NCR where you can't, they're too spread out. It's not efficient. So I think in my older Old Man Liver stage, I would not be part of any particular faction. I would just be on my own and trying to communicate between the factions, because honestly, it's what I really do in real life in Goodsprings, because I'm somewhat
An ambassador or a negotiator, then?
Yeah, which is weird. In real life, it's funny. It's a role I didn't expect by owning the Pioneer Saloon and Goodsprings General Store. I'm like, they're just businesses, right? But we support the whole town, the whole area, and surrounding areas. And we found her. I'm in a situation where I'm like really like the blonde chick in Game of Thrones, where people are coming to me like, "Can you solve this dispute between me and my neighbor?" And I'm like, really? Like, okay, let's all get even right when we took over, I had to bring two people in the township that had a problem with each other.
I'm sorry.
And I was like, okay, let's meet up at, it was ironically, it was high noon. Let's talk this out. Let's get it worked out. And that's literally a role that I've had to take on. And it's funny because, in a certain way, we do have different factions out there. We've got real motorcycle clubs that could potentially have issues with each other. We've got
no damn joke.
So I'm of course friends with the head of all the motorcycle clubs, but I'm also friends with Metro and the police as well. I don't
They
wear
call them
badge.
clubs now, guys. They're not gangs anymore.
right.
They're called clubs.
Right, clubs.
That's what the CC's for. Yeah.
And that's what we always say at Pioneer. We're neutral when it comes to politics, street gangs, or motorcycle clubs. So we try, everyone's coming out to have a good time. So we try to facilitate that role. And sometimes it's literally being the communicator and the leader of like, hey, let's get this worked out. And it's, it's real shit out there, which is funny. When I play the game and I kind of I make decisions, and I know, kind of like we were talking earlier, I know some people want to be the bad guy because they don't get to be that in real life. So they're going to kill Easy Pete and take the dynamite right off the bat and stuff. Like, I can't play like that. I have to play like I'm making decisions because I really do that in real life out there.
Right.
And probably the only difference is in the game, I don't drink alcohol and do chems and play cards, where in real life I do, but I don't get that satisfaction of being drunk or kanking or whatever, unless it's so that's the only difference. So I don't do that in the game, where in real life
I'll save that for real life, man. I need to get tagged.
Seriously, I love being on like roulette, even though the odds in roulette are horrible. It's one of my favorite table games.
I actually love playing a little bit of roulette.
It's fucking fun, right?
$2 a hand kind of thing, that kind of stuff. And just the whole idea of that is the closest to actual real gambling that I feel that there is. Because like cards, you can count cards. There's an element of strategy behind it. Yeah. There's a little bit more likely, if you're good at it, you're good at it. Now, when it comes to roulette, you could be a good guesser. You could watch the numbers pretty close. And as long as that shit isn't rigged, it's gambling.
Right. People don't realize every single roll of the ball is a separate odds. It has nothing to do with the previous roll. You can have 10 reds in a row, and it doesn't mean the chances are the next time it's going to be black. So
it'd be another red.
It's kind of like the piano of table games, where it's black and white, right? And then of course the green is what skews it, in favor of the house. But anyway, so point is, like, I don't even like playing video versions of those, like the real life interaction of roulette games. And I guess that carries over, because I realized that when I was playing Fallout New Vegas, that was the only decisions that weren't coming from that old man liver wouldn't make in real life, because normally I'd be drinking and smoking and doing cards while I'm hopefully trying to help people and support shit like I do in real life.
You like to have a good time. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're having life, like even if you're in a fucking post-apocalyptic world, it's the little things that you're going to find fun and distracting and keep you going. So, but it really, it's an interesting perspective that I have living out there, because Goodsprings really is, I'm not a big prepper type, but it really is our bug out place. So like with friends and family, that's where we tell them to report. If there's a civil war or nuclear war, Goodsprings is where we're going to meet out at.
I'm cruising out to my homeboy, old man liver, and be like, I need a chicken, bro.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. We've got, we know where the snipers are going to go on the hill, on which hills, and everybody's got a role. And I'm not even fucking kidding with you.
Nope, I'm from Henderson. I'm a local.
I remember I was on your show. All right, let him in the gate. Like, it's really, it's true. And so we have, we've got chickens out there, and we're getting solar. We're going to get as much off the grid as possible. And so it's kind of a real life scenario for me. And it's funny, and out there we have, we've got scorpions. Yeah, they're not giant rad scorpions, but we got to deal with them. We got tarantulas, and even at one point in the fall, like the tarantulas all come down the hills at the same time, where it looks like it's out of a fucking horror movie or some shit.
I need to come out there and watch that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so there's like real life shit when I'm playing the game, and when I'm walking around Goodsprings, I'm like, this is very accurate with some of the shit I have to deal with. And even, like Gordy, who they base the character Easy Pete off of, he's literally like blown himself up at the Pioneer Saloon. And I had to handle that. This is a true story. It wasn't dynamite, but it was propane. And it's like I get a call, and I'm literally just laying in my bed going, okay, I finally have one fucking free night. I can just chillax and watch TV or whatever. Normally I'm working 24 hours, all the shit. And so I'm like, okay. And then the phone rings, and it's the police. It's like, you need to get down here right away. And I'm like, what the fuck? And we pull up to Goodsprings, and there's all these fire trucks and ambulances and police cars and all the shit. And there's
Corey's like, oops.
Seriously, it was, I swear to God, it was like out of a video game or a cartoon, where he's smoking, and he's like still on fire, and he's putting his beard out. He's like, I'm okay, boss. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, you are getting medical attention. You're, you know, and he's literally everything's singed and he's smoking. I'm like, you couldn't create that, you know, that'd be something that'd be in the video game, and, but it's actual real life, which just blows my mind. So, so it's just kind of funny to me that, you know, how much reality there is in this stuff and how we do have to deal with factions and decision making. So that's why I can confidently tell you what I would do in this scenario, because it's kind of how I live in real life. And it's always, de-escalating shit, making sure everybody, you can go to the Pioneer Saloon to this day and walk around and go, oh, there's one bike club, there's a bicycle club, there's outdoor enthusiasts, there's kids, those are businessmen, and everyone's got to get along. And I have to be the facilitator of that. So I feel like, even if it was a post-apocalyptic era, I would be doing the same thing I'm doing and trying to lead people, organize instead of, I'd start
almost
my
like
own
a town
faction.
mayor in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't, we could market it and call ourselves our own faction and have a flag. I think that'd be cool. I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, yeah, do you ever work, some of your Old Man Liver fans are a little, cult-like. And I was like, shit, I'll start a cult. The only difference is I won't claim to be the son of Jesus Christ or anything. I'll just say, hey, it's all about orgies and protecting each other and be honest with you. And that's going to be my cult. So I think that's what I would do.
Drinking whiskey and petting chichickens.
Right? That's a good part of my
Archimedes, get over
life.
here.
Yeah, right. I'm not kidding. Yeah. And even though, a lot of people know that my friend Monica is, who they based Trudy the bartender off of, and with art imitating life or life imitating art, whatever the fuck, like she's literally the head of the county advisory council. So the closest thing to a mayor in real life as she is in the video game, but they have since Goodsprings is an unincorporated area, they don't have any power. So I have to take that role usually because I know everybody and I'm in that role and we support the town and the Goodsprings Cemetery and the fire department and the elementary school, which is amazing. It's very pretty inside the elementary school. It's not like in the video game, but there's actually 2 students at the elementary school, and the county, it's been open since 1913, and the county has to keep it open as long as it has 1 student. So I tell people, if you want to have a great education for your young kids, move out to Goodsprings because they have one-on-one teacher instruction. I mean, and the teachers
There's only
are great.
one problem with that, man. You ain't got no houses for sale out there.
Yes, that's a good point. It is a small town, and there's not a lot.
Trust me, I know.
available.
I'm in the process of buying a house, and I was actually looking in that general
Yeah.
area, and I'm like, well, yeah, if I go up further towards, like, if I want to go to Pahrump or like over, I can't remember what the name of that town. It's not Jean, but it's a little
Sandy
further up.
Valley, maybe.
Sandy Valley, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a couple
yeah.
houses up in Sandy Valley, but
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, I ain't going that far out, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Sandy Valley's pretty good distance, but Goodsprings, people don't realize, is like 25 minutes from the strip. So, but yeah, if you haven't been out to Goodsprings, it looks like it does in the game. Like it's amazing the terrain, how much they got accurate, and even where the Goodsprings Cemetery was. Oh, which by the way, like on July 4th the other day, some guys were out at the Goodsprings Cemetery and they were shooting fireworks and caught the place on fire, got a little brush fire started. And I get a phone call and they're like, what do you want us to do? And I'm like, how about
Put the fire
calling
out.
the fucking 911? Yeah. How about calling the fire department instead of me? Like, I'm not anywhere near Goodsprings. I'm drinking in fucking Vegas, playing cards and canking. So like, so literally, that's just more examples of the scenario, man. So
like, guys, look,
yeah.
you need to be able to think for yourselves.
Right? Yeah.
Put your pants on, pull them up a little bit, tighten that belt, and get to work.
Now, the only thing I'm surprised about that they didn't include that maybe they would in there was ever a Fallout New Vegas 2 is the amount of connecting mine shafts we have in Goodsprings. The same. And the faction could be the livers, by the way, in case any video game programmers are Listen,
Hey, I said they should they should at least put your likeness in the game as like
thank
the
you.
town mayor or something. And
Thanks.
not only that, but like, so when it comes to Pete, like, look, you got to put more of Gordy's personality actually in Pete because Pete's kind of dry.
Yeah, Gordy has a lot more personality than
Yeah.
Pete has.
In real
Hilarious.
life, like that
Yeah.
dude is a freaking ball. He cracked me up.
He does, and anybody that's met him, that's the real him all the time. Because of course he hams it up and he loves signing autographs and taking pictures.
But he's
But his
naturally got a
BS,
funny bone, you know.
he's a funny dude. He's a funny like you couldn't create a character like Gordy. Like there should be a video game that bases something on Gordy because he's fucking hilarious. And and gets himself in these scenarios like the propane tank that literally threw him 10 feet back against the wall and knocked him out for a few seconds. I mean, that wasn't the video game. That's like real life. And I'm like, yeah. So some of the personalities are even, more so. And like Monica slash Trudy, she does this awesome thing where she sings and plays in the band at the same. Well, she'll sing with the band and bartend at the same time, which I'm like, that is freaking impressive.
They should have
And
put
I'm like,
so much more of that into the game because it would have been
yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Goodsprings would have been that spot in the game where the people have been like, I don't even care to go to Vegas. I'm just going to stay here.
yeah,
Can you
no,
imagine?
that's
Because
true.
I was watching and I'm like looking at the Goodsprings, right? And I'm like looking at the actual bar because the back end of the bar you've got. If anybody was to actually go, Google Goodsprings like they should right now, and look at the good. By the way, it's called the Pioneer Saloon. It's not the same as the in the game.
Yeah.
The game's a little different, but still the building and on the back end of the building, it's closed off. And then on that closed in area, there's a bar, there's an actual stage there. And then there's a bunch of bench seating underneath an awning that actually got misters on it. And it's very comfortable. I just note that.
Thank you.
And then there's another outdoor area with some more benches where people can eat. There's a whole nother area that he could put more seating in if at a moment's notice. He could actually create a secondary dance floor out in that area. He could even actually put on 2 shows at the same time. He could have somebody on stage over there, and then he could have a smaller little setup around the side there and have 2 bands going at the same time if he wanted to. And
Yeah, you
that's
could
no
do
joke,
that. And what's funny is I bought my house down the street. Of course, it came with a mine shaft, which is crazy, but that's Goodsprings for you. And the guy that sold it to me swears at one point that the Pioneer Saloon has a mine shaft under it, and at one point they connected, which wouldn't surprise me because there's miles of mine shafts in there. And we did survive Prohibition. So it's possible that was could have been what it was used for. But it's there's miles of mine shafts all over Goodsprings, and that would be a
not
cool
that we're
thing.
suggesting anybody go climbing around in mine
No,
shafts
we
out
don't.
in the middle
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
desert.
No one needs
You
to.
can die.
Yeah, they're all dangerous. They're all gonna. Unless you're sending a drone in, don't ever go into a mine shaft. They're super fucking dangerous. But it's a kind of a neat thing. If they had incorporated that into the Fallout game, it had where you have to go down in the shafts and you deal with ghouls and crazy shit like that could be in a whole underground part of
Mole
Goodsprings.
miners, man, mole miners.
Right?
Mole
Just,
miners.
just throwing it out there for falling
Yep.
to Vegas too, if it were to happen. Radioactive chickens too. Because that's after having chickens at my house and some of the manager at Pioneer Saloon being scared to go over there because our rooster chases them off. I'm like, that's a radioactive chicken would be a great fucking
Instead of a death claw, you got a 6-foot chicken.
Yeah,
Or
big
a
old
6-foot
rooster.
rooster with the fighting claws attached to his back of his
Right.
neck.
That's exactly my rooster, Picasso. He could be a character. So, but anyway, so to answer your question, yeah, I mean, that's how I see myself as I wouldn't be like a courier, but I'd be hopefully trying to help people and get
a community
people together and
facilitator
organize.
of some
Yeah,
sort. Yeah.
right. So that's kind of what I do.
And that's kind of what I saw myself, playing a role in. I was trying to think big. I tend to try to think big. So in that regard, I would have tried to do something that I knew would get me, starting off with the water. Well, after I get done with the water, now I might start trying to facilitate myself a little bit more power in that area, a little bit
Yep.
more influence, see what
That's
kind of
smart.
strings I can pull, and finding a
You
way to
control
make
the
it.
water. Yep.
Yeah,
You got it.
well,
You
you control the life
yep.
source of the entire area. That's
Right.
the stepping stone to being able to kind of get a handle and control in that area. Because I could have, after that, I can pull all the NCR people, all the townspeoples in each different section. I can even get Mr. House to work with me, and all these people could team up together and take out Caesar's Legion. Boom, get rid of them. They're
Very
done deal.
smart.
Boom, they're
You know what I'm
done.
saying? And then I could broker a deal between NCR and, you know, Mr. House to be able to work together on having Mr. House. You don't touch his town. Vegas belongs to Mr. House. So outside of Vegas, NCR can control that entire area and police it, and actually do some policing action for Mr. House in that area, as long as they follow Mr. House's rules.
I'm
And
in.
it got
Count me in.
negotiated from me, who supplies everybody with water.
It's genius.
Wada.
Yeah. And then, you know,
Very smart.
it makes it where you can start branching out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Very smart. And try to normalize life, get it back to where it was.
to a certain degree, yeah. You
Pre-war.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I'd want to normalize it too much, because
Right.
well, let's
Yeah.
say, you know, a little bit of chaos helps breed creativity.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
That would be the nice thing about running the Prospector Saloon, is I wouldn't have so many fucking regulations to deal with. This department and this county and this state and this blah blah blah. You know, it's very Wild West out there, with the exception of being that we're part of Clark County, which
Well,
is
once you eliminate
Las
all the raiders and stuff, you can create your own little Thunderdome and use them as gladiators and sell tickets.
like it.
Yeah.
Done.
So, all right, now we're going to get into a little bit of getting to know Old Man Liver here. So Old Man Liver is, like I said, he's the proprietor, the owner of the Pioneer Saloon. And coming up in November of this year, it's the 11th and 12th, or is it the 12th and 13th?
Yep, you got it.
11th and 12th,
12th.
of this of November. We're going to be having our own let's say Fallout New Vegas Renaissance fair, in a sense, or cosplay. It's where everybody can come and show up, and they dress up in their little outfits, and, you know, show up and have a lot of fun, drink a little booze. There's a lot of community things going on there. There's going to be booths for people to go up to, and I believe they're going to be selling stuff like we did. It's ironic how those guys just happened to pop up, and they're like, "Hey, you know, we got this. How about we just bring?" And there's like, they had these neat little necklaces that they created at home. They have all kinds of little.
We'll have a lot more
knickknacks.
vendors this year than we had last year. So there's going to be everything from people that, you know, want to come out and they can create costume masks for people on the spot. There's going to be like airbrush artists. There's going to be someone with a mobile saloon, another person with a food truck with all Fallout focused food items. And then, of course, we'll have the Trudy the Bartender's band. We got Easy Pete signing autographs. We'll have Fallout themed karaoke. We're going to do a tour of the town, which we're tying in for Fallout for Hope, for charity for St. Jude's. And we'll get to do a tour, and I can show people, you know, a lot of what the town, which, you know, a lot of neat things. Like we have a doctor that lives on the hill there that who, you know, that could have been Dr. Mitchell that they based him off of. So there's a lot of neat things to see around there. So we'll do some touring. We've got shuttles. We'll do, you know, we've got different accommodations, whether you want to do the raw camping deal or something in between teepees or cabins, or you want to stay in one of the nicer hotels in Primm or Las Vegas and get shuttled over. So
I wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
On the camping part. So I know you bought, was it 2 acres across the street?
I did.
Right? So with that 2 acres, did you put like concrete slabs in, or did you put any kind of like power or anything like that? It's just
this is
land.
the fucking wasteland. It is the wasteland.
But it's basically just flattened out parking lot area where we're going to be camping on.
It's dry camping for sure.
Okay. I wanted to make sure people knew what they were getting into, not showing up thinking it's going to be one thing and something else.
Yeah, no, this is straight up. If you want to experience the video game in real life, that would be your choice. Or if you're on a budget like I was in my 20s, where I remember one time I went to Vegas I had no money to gamble, no money to stay in a hotel. And I just had a bottle of whiskey, and that held me through the whole weekend. And I just slept wherever, and, poolside or what, and just winged it with a bottle of whiskey. So like that can be a version too.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I've done
every
my
budget.
Vegas hustles. I actually used to stand in line for the bus tours, and I would like when they were getting off the buses, the bus tours, I would run into the valley area and I would slide into the line and I would walk through the bus tours, and I get those little booklets that they used to give out that you can get free buffets and stuff from. And I
Oh
would go
yeah,
from
yeah.
casino to casino, and I would snatch those little things up. I get free drinks and free food. I don't know if you
Perfect.
can pull that off anymore,
Yeah,
guys. It's been a long
they've
time.
I think they've figured that out, a couple of those scams, so it's not quite as easy. But just so everyone knows, there's no actual entry fee, like other conventions where you got to buy a ticket, or there's no cover, there's nothing actually be part of the event.
At this
So,
time.
so well, yeah. Now next year we charge $1,000 per ticket. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Well, you never know what this
Goodness.
thing. We don't know what this
You never
animal is
know.
going to turn into. It could be just
No.
like Disneyland someday.
I tell you, it's
Who
getting
knows?
it's already doubled in size from last year, because last year was just one day, and this year we realized we have to do 2 days and spread it out. And there's so much to do, and like you said, we got cosplay contests and things like that. But then also we're going to stay open 24 hours, which we don't normally do, even though in Nevada we can legally at any time. There's not really a market for that in general in Goodsprings, but for this weekend, based on last year when we had to kind of kick people out at like 2 a.m, and then people were waiting for us to open back up, we're like, let's just stay open. And then even some people that aren't into Fallout, they may want to just come out and see what
They
Pioneer
just wanted
Saloon
to
is like
party,
at 3
man.
Yeah, I mean, it's got
Party!
the whole haunted vibe too, so a lot of people want to come out there in the middle of the night and see what it's like. So that's going to be different than any other day of the year. That'll probably be going on annually, the one night we stay open 24 hours. And then, like I said, eventually maybe 3 days. And we're getting more involved in tours, like our friend who's working on a video game tour and things like that. So I only see it growing with time, because everyone just keeps coming up with more creative things we can do. So
Well, I know our buddy Chipmunk is going to be there, and he's going to have a booth.
sure.
And I do
Absolutely.
believe, I think me and him are going to be sitting together on that booth. And what I'm planning on doing is I am going to set up my little laptop and whatnot, see if I can get, I may not be streaming live, but I will be recording. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have conversations with patrons and ask them about their experience and see how, their feelings, and, kind of get a on-site kind of, "Ooh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life." Oh, or, whatever it is that they want to share with themselves, and
Yeah.
talk about a little bit of their experience with the Fallout universe. And maybe I'll probe them a little bit about what brought them into the Fallout universe and how they got involved with New Vegas. And just a small little interview of people that are just like you, who are out there listening to this right now, who are Fallout fans. If you guys show up, you may be able to sit down and have a conversation with me and Maverick, because Maverick's going to be showing up as well.
I
So
will be there this
you'll
year.
be able to meet them, and then you'll also be able to
Yay.
meet, I believe TKS
Woohoo!
should be showing up
Oh,
again.
for sure. We'll be
And
there.
we'll have guys from the NCR. They're a cosplay group who they were there last year. They had their tents up, and they have a lot of cool stuff. Mind you, please don't handle their products unless they say it's okay. But you'll get to look around, get a little feel of the pretty authentic looking gear that they have. And they had a shooting gallery last year, right?
Yeah. I don't know what Cap Ellis unfortunately had a burglary where a lot of that sadly was stolen out of his car, which is a bummer. It happened just a few months ago, so that was sad. But he's very enthusiastic, and I have no doubt he'll pull something off to be involved this year as well.
Well, hopefully,
yeah, and
maybe his
it's just a
partners will help
community.
come up with something.
Yeah, and it's cool because I had so many people come to me and they're just like, thanks for bringing this community together, because we don't normally get to interact physically. And and of course some admitted they're like, yeah, I'm not normally even a sociable person. I am the typical live in your basement with your parents or whatever and play video, but this I feel comfortable
It
here.
felt like
and
his
you guys,
people or her people, whatever.
yeah, so you can feel
They found their people. Always fun
right?
to do.
And you can come however you want. You can dress up. You can just wear normal clothes. You can however you want to participate.
I showed up
It's
wearing the shirt I'm wearing right now, which is just a Brotherhood of Steel t-shirt. And I walked right up to Steven and I introduced myself and let him know that I'm with the Fallout Roundtable podcast. And we hit it off right off the bat. And
Totally.
here we are. So, I mean, you don't have
Yeah.
to do a whole lot. You can just show up. I
Yep.
would say if you do have the ability to dress up, this is the perfect
do.
opportunity to do so, to let your freak flag fly. Let it fly, man. Let it fly.
Right on. Right on. Well
You know?
said.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have it.
What's the matter, Maverick?
I do have the shirt.
Oh, he's looking for a shirt.
Looking for stuff. Yeah, and you probably remember Benjamin showing up in the power armor. It was very elaborate. Like
So
he
do
could
you
barely
have
get through
access to him?
I'm working on that.
Okay, because I know Chip
Yes.
was looking for him. And
Yes.
he hit
So
me up and I'm like, yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, is we are a community. You know, even those of you guys, I know you guys don't all hang out with us. You don't talk to me every day, but you can. All you got to do is hit us up on Twitter, or you can go into the Discord. But we know your community's out there because we continuously get listeners. I think Maverick's trying to show off the shirt that he made for he had some shirts. You got it backwards, bro. All
Oh
we're
yeah,
seeing is,
yeah.
I'm just seeing
Yeah,
a tan
yeah,
shirt. He's admiring his own handiwork there. See, it's got our little Fallout logo on the shirt there, which he should be bringing that with him.
That's
I will.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be bringing a couple.
Yeah, we should be bringing like 18 boxes of them
Well,
and make a
I'll be
little chunk of
flying out
change, bro.
Right?
Yeah, think smarter, not harder, bro.
Think
Anyway,
smarter,
Yeah,
not
whoever
harder.
comes out, and if you want, you can try while you're out. You can try I'm a whiskey peddler, so I got my own
Aha.
Old Man Liver American whiskey,
Mm.
which I'm drinking as we speak. Here's
you got a bottle sitting there somewhere? Yeah, get it closer because
It
you're
is.
buzzing out.
Let's see.
There you go. It's that background thing that
It's
fudges you out.
almost, yeah, the damn
Old Man
blur
That
Liver.
background,
fuzziness, man.
Now, if you guys want to, what you can do, if you can't see the bottle there, you can definitely see it if you go to What's What with Old Man Liver on YouTube, and you can watch the Old Man Liver show, and you can actually see me sitting there with my old man hair before I decided to shave my head again. And, you know, I was looking all fuddy-duddy and my big old fat ass. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting chunky. Actually, I've dropped a lot of weight since then. I'm back down to 205. So
Good for you,
I'm
man.
Good for
I'm
you, my bro.
yo-yoing a little bit. I'm going between like 212 and 205, trying to get to where I'm back down to 200, maybe about 188. If I
That's
get to
awesome, dude.
188, I'm stopping. I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah,
back
we
to-
taped that last episode just like 3 weeks ago, or so. It wasn't that long. So
No, it's about a
that's
month.
great
Yeah.
job. About a month. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
But thanks
yeah,
for the pitch. Yeah. And if you go to oldmanliver.com, you can see the whiskey, and we've got beer and books and music and hot sauce and all kinds of crazy shit. But it's a good role. It's a good tie-in for the Pioneer Saloon and Goodsprings General Store. Like I feel I'm comfortable out there in Goodsprings, and I want everyone to come out and join us. So please do.
Yeah, if you guys are Fallout listeners or Fallout game players and you go and check out What's What with Old Man Liver, make sure that you let him know in your comments and stuff that you're from the Fallout universe, so he can actually gauge and know how many of the Fallout universe is actually following in on his What's What, because that can actually help influence the content that he brings on the What's What, because he could actually bring more and more of that Fallout universe into that show if he knows that that's what you're looking for.
Good point. Good point. Please do.
Yeah. So, do you have any social media thing other than your What's What? You got, Twitter.
Yeah, I think
and all that
if you
jazz?
just go to oldmanliver.com, it's got all our, Tic Tacs and Dick Docs and all that kind of shit or whatever. Now there's a new one I got to learn. Thimble or threads or some shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now what's
all them bells and whistles that makes everybody tickle in their hell happy places. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what a podcast was until I did my fifth episode, and I finally figured it out.
You're like, oh, you want to interview me on what?
Yeah, I hear airing this
What?
shit, and people, and
Yeah.
somebody's listening to this shit. What the?
Apparently, go figure.
But hey,
Yeah.
I mean,
All right,
if we can
folks,
get on
well,
and talk video games, it's a good lifestyle. It's not too shabby.
No,
Right.
man, you find a niche and you roll with it. That's why I do content creation stuff too, because there's plenty of people out there that are going, I want to be a content creator, but I don't know what I'm doing. Well, come listen to me.
Yeah,
I may not have
you
what
do a
you're
great
looking
job.
for on this one, but I'll have it on the next one.
No, you do a great job. I've watched several of your episodes, and it's awesome.
Good. I'm glad. All right, Maverick, you got anything else you want to say before we cut out?
No, not really. Besides, thank you for helping and listening and just enjoying our shenanigans throughout the show for the first 50.
Number 50, 50, G.
5. Oh,
Woo!
Yeah,
yeah.
because of you
honored
guys,
I
we
got
are
to be in the
pushing
special.
right at the cuspice of 10,000 downloads. We're right
Yeah,
there.
we are.
So, it's all because of you guys, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you Maverick, and thank you Jaxxis. It's an honor to be on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, folks, you have a great night. Thank you for coming. Everybody say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.